Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 3rd, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing better. We are slowly but surely improving. Less sicker by the day. Awesome. Less mucus. Yummy, yummy. I love it. I love breathing through my nose a little bit. Oh, you heard it. That's a bad one. That's the right. The other one's not too bad. So we're getting there. That's progress. Let's see. I did go to work today. That was so fun. Yay, capitalism. Looks like we're making it. And I only say this because I'm just not making enough, but you gotta do it because it's the only way to survive. Check, baby doll. But that being said, today was a pretty good day. I even got time to take a nap in. Like, let's go. I love a good weekday nap. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up my sleep schedule. But I say that like I've ever had a good sleep schedule. I haven't had a good sleep schedule since high school when I wrecked it just so I could stay up watching Adult Swim. But that being said, we're here now, and I do have a food corner. I decided to give myself a treat, even though I'm not at 100% and I should just be eating soup. I went to Cane's and I got a Caniac combo with an extra toast. And I would say it was yummy, but I'd also say that the excess grease, hey, I'm pro grease. But I think in my weakened, diminished state, it made me a little nauseous, made me a little tummy hurty. But that being said, we still rise, we still survive. So, yeah, also some good news. Maybe the only movie I'm going to see this year. They dropped the trailer, Dune Part 2. Let's fucking go. It might be two trailers. I only watched like one. So I might watch that after I do this episode, maybe. I don't know. Maybe like I want to hold off. I've already read the book, so I know what's going to happen. I am excited to just see the characters though, and now it's just like good. I'm gonna go to the movies and I'm gonna see these people in action, and I'm gonna be so satisfied. So the vibes are tight there. But I gotta say that's kind of where it starts and where it ends for that, because these news stories I got aren't exactly great. They aren't exactly uplifting. uh, it's this is one of those abyssal episodes. I feel like where I'm just like, man, like this it makes me want to cry. It makes me want to like flip something. It makes me very upset because it's one of those we live in a society episodes. So yeah, I'm gonna take my break at the beginning, at the top of the pop. Top of the pop. That's not a thing. No one says that. I gotta say top of the pod. That would have been like topical, being that this is a podcast. Whatever. Also, still no alcohol. Trying to stay hydrated. All right, let's get into it. From from CBS News, McDonald's franchisee employed 10-year-olds. U.S. Labor Department says. So this is definitely, sadly, just not a new thing. Like, it's just this time we're talking about like fast food right now. But a McDonald's franchisee in Kentucky employed two, not one, but two 10-year-old children in violation of federal labor laws, the Department of Labor said on Tuesday. Bauer Food LLC, a Louisville based operator of 10 McDonald's franchise locations across two states, employed the children, the Department of Labor said in a news release. Let's see. Not only were they employed, they also weren't getting paid. Yet sometimes worked as late as 2 a.m., and they prepared and distributed food orders, cleaned the store, worked at the drive-through window, and operated a register. Let's see. Investigators learned that one of the two children was allowed to operate a deep fryer, a prohibited task for workers under 16 years old. Now, Bauer Foods came out with a statement, and the owner, Sean Bauer, told CBS News that the children were visiting their parent, who works as a night manager. He said the kids were not approved to be in that part of the restaurant by the franchisee organization management, and that any work the children did was at the direction of and in the presence of the parent. So, what they're saying is, it's not our fault. It's just bad parenting. It's just the bad parenting of this employee. It's not on us at all. Um, like, no, 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 no. I'm not fucking hearing that. I'm not fucking hearing it. This is another example of fucking passing the goddamn buck that all these fucking big companies want to do. They either say this kind of shit, or they say, oh, well, we did a staffing agency and we didn't know what we were getting. Like, you see these people come in. There are other employees who work with these kids. Like, it's crazy. Not to mention there's other stories like this that have happened. Like I said, this is more about just the fast food work here. But we've covered factory work, warehouse work of just kids, literally kids who are under like 15 working in these situations that could like literally kill them, maim them. And they're just working so that they can put some literal food on the table for their family. And you shouldn't obviously be in this kind of situation, but there are literally laws in place that should be protecting these kids, and these kids are just falling through. It's fucked up. In June of 2022, a 15-year-old worker at a Tennessee McDonald's franchise suffered hot oil burns while using a deep fryer, according to the agency. 14 and 15-year-olds are permitted to cook with deep fryers under federal regulations. Love that. That's such a great federal regulation. Let them work. The children yearn for the fry cooker. But only ones equipped with automatic baskets. Oh, that's so much safer. Let's see here. The employment of the 10-year-old children wasn't the only violation. The DOL investigators found wages and hour division of the DOL found Bauer Food LLC employed 24 minors under the age of 16 to work more than legally permitted hours. The DOL assessed nearly $40,000 in penalties, which I'm sure this company can fucking afford. They also go on to mention, though, that it's not just McDonald's that is guilty of this kind of shit. But I believe last December, the department found similar violations at Burger King, Subway, and Popeyes. So, and that was earlier in 2022. Let's see. The DOL has seen a 69% increase, nice but not nice, in children being employed illegally by companies since 2018. So this is something that keeps going up and up and up. You even have some states, let's see, like in Arkansas with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who signed a law to make it easier for children under 16 to get hired. In Iowa, lawmakers in the state Senate in April passed legislation that would permit 14 and 15-year-olds to work in freezers and meat coolers. Jobs that people even my age or older don't want to fucking do. And I'm not putting this on the fucking kids. I'm not putting this on the fucking parents. I'm not doing that. Like, we are in a fucking institute. Like, we live in America. This shit shouldn't be fucking happening. We literally have laws for this shit. And we are bending them and bending them and bending said laws. And even then, people are going beyond that pale. It's a fucking joke. Like, I remember, and this is something I'm really glad about. I really had wanted a job. I want to say it was around 16, 17, maybe. Just because, like, some of my friends were working at Kroger. I had some friends who, actually, no, I think it was mostly Kroger that was, like, hiring people. They were so thirsty for work. Give us your workers. Give us your children. And the only place that I could think of that I could work at was McDonald's. And I got an interview. And easiest interview I've ever fucking done. They're like, do you have a pulse? And I was like, yeah. And do you think you could work? Like, I mean, obviously I'm paraphrasing here, but that was the gist, the line of the questions. And I was like, yeah, totally. I would love to do these kind of things. I'd love to work. And they're like, yeah, we would totally hire you. And after I got the job, I remember I didn't work it because my dad was like, Isaiah, I will up your allowance. Like, I really just want you to focus on school. I want you, and I think it wasn't just that. I think he was like giving me like a nice like straight-laced dad answer. But I really think he was just like, Isaiah, I don't want to break your spirit. Like, because I got into work at 18. I mean, which I feel like is a default age, right? You're an adult now. Like, yeah, go ahead and get to it. I try to work at CC's. That's a whole other fucking story. But my first like job was at 18. I worked at the mall, and it was hard, but it was definitely, I think, right place, right time. And I'm glad that I didn't work as a teenager. Now, granted, if you got a little concession job that you're working in the summer, things like that, I think that's a debatable thing. Like jobs like that, I'm totally fine with. I'm not really sweating those things. Maybe that's a hypocritical gray space that I'm living in. I don't fucking know. But like those are pretty small scale jobs. You're usually working with someone who's older. There's usually some kind of supervision. From what I've kind of seen, there's usually some kind of adult around to help. And you're just like jamming on the cash register, getting people Gatorades, maybe a hot dogs, popcorn type shit. But still, like there should just be stipulations and controls on this shit. It's crazy that we want to loosen it. I mean, I get it. We all need money. These times are fucking tough. But like, you should be allowed to be a kid, have your childhood, and not to mention be fucking safe, man. Like that's just crazy. I couldn't imagine getting a Big Mac, at or like past midnight, and there's just like this little kid pop their head out, like what, like a kid, a 10-year-old, yo. It's insane. Honestly, that's the lightest story that we have. So let's get into this other shit. I'm kind of putting it off. From the Associated Press, police capture suspect in Atlanta medical facility shooting. Police say they have apprehended a man who allegedly opened fire inside the waiting room of an Atlanta medical facility, killing one woman and injuring 4 others Wednesday. Authorities had swarmed the city's bustling Midtown neighborhood earlier in the day, searched the suspect who had fled the shooting. The suspect was 24-year-old Dion Patterson. I believe he was a former, he did military. I'm not quite sure what. I kind of don't remember. Former Coast Guardsman. But he had some mental instability. And he had went to the VA to, get on some medication, but it wasn't the medication he wanted. I think he wanted Ativan to help with his anxiety and depression. And I guess this was like a big trigger. That's like kind of the only motivation we have. They did talk to the mother, and at least from this article, she said her son wanted Ativan to deal with anxiety and depression, but that the VA wouldn't give it to him because they said it would be too addicting. She's a nurse, and she said she told them he would only have taken the proper dosage because he listened to me in every way. Those families, she said, starting to sob, they're hurting because they wouldn't give my son his damn Ativan. Those families lost their loved ones because he had a mental break because they wouldn't listen to him. Now, she didn't say what the medication he was currently on. That being said, the VA said we can't really issue a comment because, like doctor-patient confidentiality type shit. Like they have to have written consent from Patterson to do that. I don't know here. I think maybe this is kind of a crux in this conversation, in this specific thing here, that maybe people are going to get into and want to talk about. I don't know. I think it's definitely a fucked up situation that, like, hey, you're having these mental issues and you're going to go to a place and take it out on people who have nothing to do with you. Obviously, I understand that these aren't like you do lose control. You do have moments of like weakness, what have you. But I just don't, I don't know. But I also would think too that, if there's any kind of situation where if this is the VA giving you like a budget version of a drug and maybe you've tried this drug before and it isn't helping you, I can see how that's frustrating. I can see how that is something that's on the VA, at least in some ways, where they're just like, oh, well, this is what we're going to give you because we don't want to try the other thing. But it's also possible that this Ativan shit is a very addictive drug and they maybe said, oh, no, we don't trust this. Like, we don't want to just give this out to you, nurse or not. So, that being said, he came into the facility, he killed one person and wounded others. Then he fled in a stolen car. I think he went and he wound up parking in like the Battery, which is like kind of like this mixed development area in Atlanta. And that is where I believe they picked him up. But they also did have a $10,000 reward for him. I don't know if that was claimed or anything like that, but it was obviously a very intense situation. Um, I can't imagine going to a hospital, being in a hospital, whether you're a patient or staff, and there's an active shooter. Like, that's crazy that that's a norm in this country, dude. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, this is a very sad state of affairs. Um, I know there's a lot to chop up and parse through on this kind of shit, and like I said, I might leave that to other talking heads. But yeah, sadly, another fucking day and another fucking shooting. Let's see. From the Associated Press, chokehold killed man restrained by NYC subway passengers. This one, this is a really fucked up story. It's really sad. Let's see. A man who had been shouting at people aboard a New York City subway train died after fellow riders tackled him and one put him in a chokehold that lasted until his body went limp, according to police officials and video of the encounter. Jordan Neely, 30 years old, died from compression to the neck, the city's medical examiner determined on Wednesday. Neely was a recognizable New Yorker. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator. He had been apparently doing it a long time. A lot of people even knew about him. They reference another actor who said that they saw him like when they first like came to New York, and like it was really cool to see someone like at it. And just obviously someone who was like so charismatic and so good at doing this impression. I had a friend who, I don't know if he still does it, but he did a mean moonwalk, and I remember he did the whole dress up and like they put him up in the gymnasium. He went off. It was crazy. So I love seeing like a solid, good impersonator. And to be able to do that on, in New York, that's like the biggest stage to do it. You know what I mean? I know that's something that people maybe go, oh, well, whatever. Like you're just doing that for like dollars and coins on the street, but like still it is a fucking street performance, god damn it. Like go back in time and that was real ass entertainment. That was the only entertainment you were gonna fucking get in a day, you know what I mean? But there's this video that takes place of this whole incident. I say whole incident, but it doesn't cover the whole thing. You just kind of see where Neely is in a chokehold, but it is said that Neely was being like belligerent and like yelling, pacing back and forth on the subway. I'm not sure exactly what was said, but at one point he talks about how he's like very thirsty, he's very hungry, he hasn't eaten. And it definitely seems like a mental episode. Like he had mental issues, he was doing his best to survive on the streets, and at one point I guess he throws down his jacket, and that's when I guess this like Marine guy, he's a 24-year-old. They say he appears to be white. He looks very white. He looks like fucking Logan Paul. But he comes up to him and they get into this altercation. He essentially puts him on the ground, puts him in a chokehold. Then there's like two other people who, like, one guy's like kind of trying, it looks like it's take his pulse, but then also hold his arms. Excuse me. Then I believe there's another person that's kind of standing over, kind of watching, but I think at one point he might put his hands on like a shoulder or something like that. But they have these three men on him as he's fighting for his life now. And they do this until he goes limp. And then the dude gets up, gets his little hat on, and they're playing around with his fucking body. Like, and I don't mean that in like a morbid way, but I think they were like I think they thought he didn't die. Like, but it's like, what was the outcome here? What did you think was going to fucking happen? Like, you were just gonna choke him until he stopped moving? Well, congratulations, you did it. And all this shit comes on the heels of Eric Adams' bullshit proposals of saying, hey, I'm going to put more cops on the fucking street. I'm going to put more mental health, workers, people on the street to kind of help out, give people more options. But that shit wasn't here. That shit wasn't available. And so it's just really fucking sad that, And it's not like I'm out here trying to make cops a scapegoat or anything like that, or make guns a scapegoat for violence or things of that nature. I get it. People are fucked. You don't have to fucking tell me that, bro, sis. Like, I hear you and understand. Roger, you're fucking Wilco. But it's just so fucking devastating. Like, I get it. Someone's disturbing the peace, being belligerent, fucking up your ride home. It is very unnerving. It's very upsetting to deal with that. But in no way, shape, or form does that allow you to become the Punisher and just kill someone. And all so far has happened to this person, he was taken into custody and then released without charges. We don't know his name. He's chilling in his lane. He can get on another fucking bus ride tonight. You know what I mean? It's very fucking stressful to just see people who need the most help just get killed, dude. I don't know, man. Let's see. I do want to read a part of this, though. The medical examiner's office classified Neely's death as homicide and the manner as a chokehold, but noted that any determination about criminal culpability could be left to the legal system. So I don't know if they're going to try to say, oh, well, because he was being so belligerent and he was fighting back or something, that this was all allowed and we like shouldn't even do anything. Like, there should at least be a manslaughter charge, in my opinion, at least. At fucking least. You just don't get to put shit in your own hands. You just don't get to become Daredevil or the fucking Punisher or name your fucking vigilante here. Like, I don't want to fucking hear it, dude. So this shit's fucked. I'm pissed now. I'm gonna move on. All right, I'm gonna take my little classy little break. Oh, all right. Hoo-wee. All right, from CNN. Texas massacre suspect is arrested after a tip to the FBI, ending days-long manhunt, officials say. So this was the situation that took place in Cleveland, Texas. Sorry I didn't mention the name Cleveland, Texas last time. It disoriented me a little bit because I'm from Ohio and there's a Cleveland, Ohio. So I didn't want to like do that. So I just said just Texas and focus on that part. But yeah, this is Cleveland, Texas. That's where the killings took place. Let's see. The suspect, which was I think Francisco Oropesa. Let's see. He was a Mexican national, but he was found hiding in a closet underneath some laundry. Sheriff Greg Capers told reporters during a Tuesday night press conference. Also, I believe his wife was also arrested. I think to a certain point, it's believed that she might have aided and abetted in hiding him or something like that. So she's also, and I might not actually be his wife, but like just partner. But yeah, that's obviously a new development here in this situation. But yeah, super sad. Just to like recap, this family, they were, they were all hanging out. They were together. They had a baby who was sleeping in the house, and Oropesa was shooting his AR-15 in the front lawn. They come up to him and they say, "Hey, can you go shoot in the back? We have a kid who's sleeping right now." I believe it was like already late. I think it was like it might have been 11 or something like that. And he was like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." And it says in this article that they're like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll just call the police." So they go back in and call the police, and he's like, "Oh, no." And so he starts threatening them. He starts getting upset and angry. And he then goes into the house, shoots 5 people, plus a child, execution style, I believe. And it's literally to the point that, like, some of the children that wound up surviving, they were, like, protecting their children. And then there was also situations of, like, someone going, like, "Hey, you jump out this window, you go. Like, you have to take care of the kids." And, like, the person who told the woman to go, they didn't make it, but the woman, was able to get away. After this, Oropesa flees, and no one knows where he is. FBI even gets involved. They up the tip like hotline reward whatever to like $80,000, which I believe someone did actually do. I don't know if they got the money, whatever, but yeah. So obviously, really sick, depraved, sad situation. It is weird too, from what I've heard though, that like this Oropesa guy, like he handled horses. People seem to say like he was just like a mild mannered dude outside of like the shooting the guns, and like there's other people who do shoot in the neighborhood. He's not the only one. He seemed like a normal, like cool guy. His wife and him were like decent people, and for this to happen, for him to snap like this was just something that no one obviously expected. Obviously, a reason I didn't talk about the ethnicity of any of the people, it's just because I hate the discourse that happens, because people scramble to find a way to make this anything about other than just, once again, the brutality of fucking people and the ease and like the accessibility of the guns that they have. Like, they don't want to talk about that. So instead they go, oh, well, this is an immigration issue. So like, this is the fact that these people are illegal. Like, that's why this happened. Blah, 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 blah. Like, even though it has nothing to fucking do with this is literally a situation of just someone deciding to do evil, violent activity. Now, there was a chance of Oropesa potentially fleeing to Mexico. That was a potential possibility. I think he like initially had ran into like this wooded area that was near where they lived, and they kind of lost track of him. But they did find him. But yeah, kind of back to that whole like discourse thing. Even Greg Abbott came out and was like trying to make this about them being illegal immigrants, but like even he went too far because some of these people weren't even. Like, they were definitely, like, actually documented. They went through the whole fucking process. They did it the way that America fucking asked some of these people. And it's like, yeah, you can't fucking say that shit. Plus, you shouldn't say this shit in the fucking first place, because this isn't something that should be getting politicized. Like, it just fucking shouldn't. Like, it's frustrating. And it's like, well, Isaiah, aren't you doing that with the gun part? It's like, bro, I'm just literally sick of seeing everyone just fully fucking equipped here. And I'll tell you, truthfully, even if it comes down to a fucking handgun, you can still do damage to people. So I don't fucking know. I don't know what to do. Like, I've said it before, I say it again. I'm not the guy who's going to answer the shit. I'm just going to, like, tell you guys the stories, and I'm going to say my fucking 2 cents and call it a fucking episode. I don't know. I don't know. But I can tell you what just upsets me. And that's something that I see time and time again. And I look at other countries and I go, wow, the shit, even when it happens, it's still not as bad because it doesn't happen every fucking week. I just want to see less of it. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, if that's my platform, if that's what you're going to hear and you don't like that, well, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like it either. I want to talk about fun shit. But then that would be kind of plastic, right? I don't know. I wouldn't like that. You know what I mean? Unless that's the world we were living in. But we're not really in that society. I don't know. But that's all I got. I thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to support the podcast, patreon.com/Isaiah News. You get bonus episodes. You get a hot link to the Discord. That is free. Just hit me up and I'll give it to you. And then also you become a newsie. I do a newsie roll call, shout out. And I'll say your name. I'll plug a thing you're doing, little project you're on. And yeah, also I like to talk about news. So obviously my newsies and I, we trade little stories, things like that. But obviously, I do that for the free. You know, I do that with my friends. They send me little stories, little links. And I'm like, ooh, thank you. Thank you, sir. May I have another? So, yeah, we can do that anytime. Free ways to hit me up, though. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. We're on YouTube. Yeah, that's right. I'm on the YouTube. Feel free to hit that bell, like and subscribe, whatever. I don't know. You can do that with Spotify, too, I think. And maybe Apple Podcasts. You should just go ahead and follow me and rate me very highly on all of those things. Yeah. I mean, I think that'd be pretty cool. You'd be a lot cooler if you did. All right. That's all I got. God damn it. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.